During the filming of the beloved movie Mrs. Doubtfire, something happened behind the scenes that was never part of the script. It was not a funny line, not an improvisation, and not something the cameras caught. It was a simple, kind gesture made by Robin Williams, the actor known for his energy, wit, and wild humor. While the cameras were being set up, and the crew was busy preparing for another scene, Robin stopped everything. He noticed something that no one else saw: Sally Field's eyes. At that moment, Sally was hiding a deep sadness. Her father had just passed away. She hadn't told anyone on set, and yet Robin knew. He saw past the makeup, the lights, and the professional mask she wore. Without saying much, he went to the director, Chris Columbus, and asked to pause the filming. The director agreed. Robin then gently pulled Sally aside and got her off the set. No explanation was needed. No big announcement. Just action. It was a quiet moment, but it meant everything to Sally. 30 years later, in 2024, she finally shared this story during an interview with Vanity Fair. She said it wasn't just a memory, it was a moment that revealed the real Robin Williams. Not the loud comedian, not the actor with 100 voices, but the man who knew when someone needed help, even when they couldn't ask for it. The filming of Mrs. Doubtfire was going smoothly in 1993. Lights were on, cameras ready, scripts in hand. Robin Williams, dressed as the eccentric British nanny, was in the makeup chair, being prepped for his next scene. The hairstylist, Yolanda Tusing, was doing his wig cap as usual. But that day was anything but normal. Sally Field had just received devastating news: her father had passed away. She had not shared the news with anyone yet, trying to stay professional and continue filming. But Robin noticed. He walked over silently, watched her for a moment, and then made a decision. He told the director that they needed to stop Sally's scenes. No one asked questions. Robin simply said, "We have to get her out of here." Sally left the set, and when she returned later, she found that her shooting schedule had been changed. No one asked for a doctor's note. No one made it complicated. It was all done quietly and respectfully. There were no cameras on Robin when he did this. No press release. Just a man doing what was right. Sally later explained that she never told this story before because it was so personal. But after so many years, she felt people needed to know about the kind of person Robin really was. His gesture was not about being a hero, it was about being human. In a world where big stars often ignore the people around them, Robin did the opposite. He saw someone hurting and chose compassion over production schedules. This wasn't just a sweet moment, it was a powerful act of emotional intelligence and kindness. It showed that even in an industry driven by money and fame, someone could still choose to care. Robin Williams was known around the world for being the funniest guy in the room. With his quick wit and endless characters, he could make anyone laugh. But on the set of Mrs. Doubtfire, his talents went far beyond comedy. He became the emotional engine of the entire production. Sally Field once said that Robin wasn't just acting, he was running a one-man improv show every day. Each scene felt alive because he never did it the same way twice. He created new lines, new jokes, even new characters in every take. Director Chris Columbus once said he kept the cameras rolling all the time, not for technical reasons, but simply to capture whatever Robin would do next. Robin brought unpredictability, and it made everyone around him step up their game. But what truly set Robin apart was his care for others. Sally remembered how he would try endlessly to make her laugh during emotional scenes, but she would stay in character. Finally, it was another actor, Pierce Brosnan, who got her to laugh during a restaurant scene by making a fart noise under the table. Robin immediately teased her, saying, "I used every trick in the world, and he gets her with a hand trick." Everyone laughed, and even though they res-hot the scene, the memory stayed. These moments became the soul of the movie. Robin wasn't just trying to make a funny film, he was building real connections with his co-stars. For him, the people around him mattered just as much as the performance. He created an atmosphere that was both chaotic and controlled, filled with laughter but also respect. He didn't just want to make people laugh on screen, he wanted them to feel good off screen too. That was Robin's true genius. Filming Mrs. Doubtfire wasn't just about acting, it was a one-of-a-kind experience thanks to Robin Williams. Every day on set felt like a surprise. Robin didn't follow the rules of a normal movie shoot. He improvised constantly, turning even the simplest scenes into unforgettable memories. Matthew Lawrence, who played Sally Field's son in the film, recalled how one simple party scene turned into a full-on dance fest. Robin jumped on a table and yelled, "Let's dance," and the whole room came alive. Kids were dancing, tables were moved, and the cameras just kept rolling. It wasn't scripted, but it was real, and that made it special. Lisa Jakub, who played the older daughter, said they sometimes had to reshoot the same scene 5 times because Robin refused to repeat the same joke. Every take had a new twist, a new joke, or a new character voice. It kept the cast on their toes. Mara Wilson, the youngest child actor, remembered how Robin would leave a strange toy on her chair every morning. When she asked him why, he said, "A good actor needs surprises." These weren't just pranks, they were lessons. Robin believed that keeping things fresh made people better actors. Even when the cameras weren't rolling, Robin kept entertaining and connecting. He drew cartoons of the costume crew and even wrote letters to help young actors with personal struggles. One of the most touching stories came from Lisa Jakub, who was expelled from school for missing classes to film the movie. Robin wrote a heartfelt letter to her school asking them to let her continue her education remotely. The school refused, but Lisa never forgot the gesture. These actions showed that Robin didn't just care about the performance, he cared about the people behind it. That's what made him unforgettable. Robin Williams may have seemed wild and spontaneous, but there was deep thought behind his chaos. He didn't just show up and go wild, he planned, observed, and listened. Robin was always the first one on set. He greeted every crew member by name, joked with the sound engineers, and sat patiently with the makeup team. He made everyone feel included. Director Chris Columbus once said they shot more than 2 million feet of film during Mrs. Doubtfire, one of the largest amounts ever for a family movie. That's because Robin never did the same scene twice. Most of the footage was different takes of Robin's improvised versions. Yet, despite the madness, it was never messy. Robin had a system. He knew when to push a scene further and when to tone it down. If a scene started to feel dull, he would suggest changing the angle, the dialogue, or even the mood of the moment. One famous example was the kitchen scene where Mrs. Doubtfire's fake face is slipping off. Robin suggested smashing his face into whipped cream and shouting, "Hello." That was never in the script, but it became one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. He understood timing, visuals, and human connection. More importantly, he understood people. If a crew member looked tired, he found a way to cheer them up. If someone seemed nervous, he would stop everything to speak with them privately. Sally Field called this his kind calculation. He wasn't just being silly for fun, he was making sure everyone felt okay. On a big movie set with tight schedules and huge expectations, this kind of care is rare. But for Robin, it was part of his job. He made people laugh, but more importantly, he made them feel seen and supported. For a long time, Sally Field kept her memory of Robin's kindness to herself. It wasn't something she wanted to share until she felt the world needed to hear it. In 2024, in an interview with Vanity Fair, she finally told the story. Later, in 2025, during a talk show appearance, she again spoke about that moment. Her words were quiet and simple, but full of meaning. "I don't think any of us have ever seen Robin like this." That sentence struck a chord with many. We often remember Robin Williams as the wild, energetic comedian. We think of Aladdin, Good Morning, Vietnam, or Dead Poets Society. But Sally's story showed another side, the man who knew when to be silent, when to act with compassion, and when to put others first. At the 2023 SAG Awards, Sally received a Lifetime Achievement Award. During her speech, she mentioned Robin without any lead-in. She said, "There's not a scene in Mrs. Doubtfire where I don't feel his presence. Robin is Robin, loving, creative, and kind to the core." These weren't scripted words. They came straight from the heart. Sally and Robin were not best friends. They didn't go on vacations together or stay in close touch after the film. But during the time they worked together, they formed a quiet understanding. They were true partners on set. Sally once described Robin as always changing, always moving forward. He kept her alert, and she kept him grounded. Together, they created something that lasted far beyond the movie itself. Sally's decision to finally share her story came at a time when people are paying more attention to how stars behave behind the scenes. In a world full of scandals and bad behavior, her words stood out. Robin wasn't just a legend on screen, he was a rare soul who made people feel cared for, even when no one was watching. Sally Field's decision to finally speak about Robin Williams' quiet act of kindness comes at a very important time in the entertainment world. In recent years, the media has uncovered many stories about celebrities treating co-stars or staff badly. Viewers have heard about actors shouting at assistants, directors being cruel to extras, and famous people forgetting that the people behind the scenes are just as human as they are. This climate of bad behavior makes Sally's story about Robin shine even brighter. It reminds everyone that kindness does not have to be loud, and real strength doesn't come from power or fame, it comes from empathy. Robin didn't wait for someone to tell him what to do. He didn't ask for permission. He simply saw that someone was in pain and made the choice to help. No one told him to stop the cameras or to pull Sally off the set. He just knew it was the right thing to do. In a time when many people are quick to judge, quick to film a mistake, and quick to cancel others, Robin's action reminds us of the power of silent support. He didn't do it for recognition. In fact, Sally never even mentioned it publicly for 3 decades. That's how personal and real the moment was. When she finally spoke, it wasn't for attention, it was to share an important truth. Sometimes, it's not the biggest speeches or the boldest moves that make the biggest impact. Sometimes, it's the quiet, thoughtful actions that stay with people forever. In a world full of noise, Robin Williams chose a moment of stillness, and that moment changed everything for Sally. This is why her story now touches so many hearts. It's not just about one day on set, it's a reminder of the kind of world we should all try to build. A world where empathy matters, where people notice each other's pain, and where taking a break to care for someone is seen as more important than finishing the next scene. Even though Robin Williams is no longer with us, the stories people tell about him keep his memory alive in a very special way. Every person who worked with him seems to have a personal story, something touching, funny, or unexpected. And almost all of those stories show the same thing: Robin Williams was not just performing for the audience, he was giving something real of himself to the people around him. He didn't save his talent just for the camera. He used it to lift up tired crew members, to make scared child actors feel brave, and to bring comfort when someone needed it most. When Sally Field speaks of him now, her voice is full of warmth and care, but also a little sadness. She knows that moments like the one Robin gave her are rare. She understands that not every co-star would have done what he did. That's what makes the story so powerful. It tells us that Robin's true legacy isn't only about the laughs he gave us on screen, it's also about the hearts he touched behind the scenes. When people look back at Mrs. Doubtfire, they'll always remember the funny scenes, the clever disguises, and the wild improvisation. But thanks to Sally's story, they'll also remember a quiet moment when Robin proved that being a star means much more than being famous. It means showing up for others, especially when they don't know how to ask for help. It means having the courage to stop everything for someone else's well-being. Robin Williams left us with unforgettable characters, but perhaps the most unforgettable thing he gave the world was himself: kind, thoughtful, present, and full of love. That's the Robin Williams Sally Field remembers. And now, because she finally shared her story, we all get to remember him that way, too.